Welcome to the Run Amok Podcast.
To behave or run around in a wild, unruly, out of control manner.
Run Amok! Run Amok! We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, and fled out to sea. Run Amok! Run Amok! Run Amok! Run Amok! Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 25. Shout out to Tack Dellinger of the Run Amok Podcast, Juncture Magazine's customer service podcast, offering news and opinions from the world of sports, pop culture, and our world this week. As always, I'm your host, David Stahl. I'm joined by my man, producer Gary, and my other man, Caleb Beer, coming on for a little, I don't know, maybe a little outside Bachelor commentary. And then he's here to talk some NBA. Our guy Carson Cooper wasn't able to make it on, so I did what I do best and told a cheeky little fib to Beer. So we're ready for you. He goes, oh yeah, all good, my bad. I assumed that like you were gonna do the episode like you do every single week, where you do Bachelor and then NBA, and then I just didn't respond and waited for him to come on, and then you're already here.
You got me.
Well, okay, let's do first things first. Because Gary last week, I said an NBA name. I don't even know what it was. It was Othello or Othella, something crazy name. And immediately he goes, that's real. You're not smart enough to come up with a name like that. And the devastating part is that he was right on both accounts, the name and my level of intelligence. So Tack Dellinger, you know, it's a little tough. It's not as crazy a name.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you're not Googling right now, Beer. You're looking down.
No. I'm actually looking at a.
Oh, okay.
Just I don't know why, but yeah.
To the listeners, you missed nothing. Beer held up what appeared to be maybe a measuring tape.
It is, yep.
Okay.
I'm saying fake.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go with you. I'll go with Beer.
And
Beer's
can I get
confident.
it? Let's give maybe some reasoning why. Let's get inside my twisted mind.
I just think like often when yours is fake, it feels like a first and a last name that would both be real from that era, but wouldn't necessarily go together.
Interesting. I think you legitimately have me pegged. That was actually a little creepy. Like, that is exactly my thought process. I try to you just said it. That was my exact whole, yeah. Wow. You nailed it, Beer. Okay. Now, we mentioned it before the pod. No Carson today. Really, really unfortunate. Now, I'm going to say something before we get into everything, because I always have the habit of telling people, now we just need one more iTunes review until we reach our goal. Our goal has always been 25. I want that 25th one. We're one away. I mentioned it at the end of an hour-long podcast, like the very end. So I'm going to say it at the beginning. If you own an iPhone, just tap that 5-star rating, baby. That's the only payment we need. We're not putting this behind a paywall. We're not throwing 50 ads up on an hour-long video. Just toss that little 5-star review. And then if you don't have Gary, well, you know the drill. If you're rocking with an Android and listening to us on Spotify,
buy an iPhone. If you're wealthy enough, buy another iPhone.
Yeah, buy a second.
Just buy a second one.
Buy a second iPhone. Yeah, that would be our tip for all our listeners out there. Yeah. All right. Let's jump right in. I do have to address something from last week. A lot of feedback. Some of the most feedback we've ever gotten was on my kissing opinion of Michael and your and Carson's rebuttal that you tossed back. Now I said, and I don't know how you feel about this, Beer. You maybe you don't even have an opinion. That's fine. But there was a guy on the show who kept asking the girl if he could kiss her. He goes, "Can I kiss you?" To me, I was thinking like, dude, just go for it. Just read the moment, or don't go for it. Like, just read the moment, whether it's there or not, and dive in. That was my opinion. I got a lot of people on my side. I got a lot of people not on my side. And it was very heated, both sides. One person even went as far as to say they think it's a very sweet gesture, even in a long-term relationship.
Wow, that's a spicy take.
That is a spicy take. I would say nothing spices up the doldrums of a long-term relationship like more permission. But hey, I think it depends. I think what we've learned is it's case by case by relationship, case by case by individual. So hey, just want to say, hey, I'm not universally correct. Beer, what are your thoughts? Am I just a dumbass?
I think that that's probably the right side to err on. If you're gonna make a mistake, be a little more cautious. Make sure you got some consent. I think it's
my thing is like, it's not a threatening situation whatsoever. I mean, what, you're on a show, you're going for a kiss, you've been hanging out with this girl for 7 hours on a one-on-one date. She knows you, she's heard your whole story, she's clearly vibing you. You're like, no, like, in context, maybe it makes a bit more sense. But I know what you're saying. Never a bad idea.
One time, or you kept asking every time?
Well, no. So the big thing, and then we'll touch on it, like, hey, he didn't ask this episode, so we asked twice. Now saying like, hey, once I get it, twice, cut it out, and then this time he just dove right in. And might I add, I think it was the sexiest kiss he's had thus far.
Kind of killed it.
Okay, Gary, you agree? It was
definitely.
Okay. It was an impassioned kiss. All I'm saying. But hey, maybe it was only so great because he asked the first couple times. Mm-hmm. What do I know, Michael? It was a great episode for Michael. He was a breath of fresh air. But let's dive in chronologically, Gary. Let's jump into the group date first. I didn't love the date itself. Now, this is the second date like this we've seen in 2 seasons. It's kind of like they're running around, they're eating hot peppers, they're doing this sort of scavenger hunt. Mm-hmm. There's no like room to, I don't know, even know Katie. There's no intimacy. It's kind of all gags. I don't know. I'm kind of out on these types of dates.
It's kind of like a little bit of like a humility / cringe fest, like the whole time. And I don't know. It's nice. Like, I think it's good for once a season, keep it at that.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's no substance. Like, I agree with you there.
I'm also now, okay, Beer, give me your thoughts on this. I'm under the impression that I think like any date that requires a fake proposal or a fake wedding picture, like sometimes they'll do like wedding pictures. The girl gets in a dress and she'll take pictures with like 8 guys, blah, 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 like different pictures, see how they look. I think that's bad juju. Yeah. Bad vibes. That's, I don't know. What do you think, Beer? I think that's bad luck.
Not to be this guy again, but I'd say if you're on a show where you're pretty much required to get married.
Intern Darren, we're going to have to cut Beer's mic. We're going to have
one
to
of 20 randomly selected people. I don't know if taking a picture for voting that marriage is really that big of an idea.
I have a feel the comment section is not going to be kind to Beer. The Bachelor Nation doesn't like to be pulled out of their immersion.
You got me on here.
I did. I did. I roped you in. Now, I actually texted one of our friends because Greg Grippo is big fan favorite, but some people are souring on him. I'll get into some other stuff later on Greg, but I think I'm kind of out on Greg. I think I'm out on Greg.
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah.
And it's just, there's something off about him. I don't know what it is.
There are little moments. And how'd you feel about this, Gary? Because this moment slapped me across the face. I know we're doing fake proposals. I know we're trying to get in the moment, but to toss out the "I love you," like that on the face. He goes, "I'm in love with you," blah blah blah. It's like, whoa, that was pretty easy for you to fake. Like you don't, no one thinks that he's actually in love with her, but you were just kind of able, that rolled off your tongue to a girl that you actually did. It's just like, for someone whose reputation is maybe, hey, I'm here to be famous, or I'm here to look good and boost my image. It was just like, I don't love the preemptive "I love you."
Yeah, the whole outside stuff about him, plus that, it's just like, I'm just out on it.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Now, okay, let's jump into Andrew S. pulls out the English accent again. Dude, I think you gotta. It's either one or the other, man. You can't keep slipping in and out of the English accent. Beer, there's this guy who plays football overseas. Where is it? In Vienna, and so he came on the show and tried to trick.
Beer knows Clay, right?
Yeah. It's Clay's cousin. It's Clay's cousin, actually. Yeah, he's on the show.
Oh, he plays like American football in Vienna.
Yes, How weird is that?
Okay.
Yeah, yes. And so I don't know, I guess he thinks it's sexy slipping in and out of this English accent. It's fucking such a weird move. Just pick one or the other. It's also a horrible idea. We talked about it episode 1. You're just less hot to her when you do the accent, and then she has to wake up to someone who just has a normal voice every day. You're setting a bad precedent for yourself moving forward. But I think this was actually a very strong date for Andrew. I think it was a strong date for Trey. Trey's personality it remains so electric.
That's the thing with these dates is like anyone with a personality, they're immediately going to shine no matter what. Like Virgin Mike, like he's not a bad guy, but he doesn't have the most personality. The only
No, he
the
doesn't
only
have
thing
the
he said
luxuries.
the whole date was like, I haven't had a carb in 7 years or something like that. So okay.
Yeah, which is like,
Let's
okay,
calm down.
douche. Yeah, yeah. But first of all, that's blatantly not true.
Yeah.
But we also get Greg. Speaking of barely speaking, all we hear from Greg this date is we get the proposal. Then we also get him trying to dirty talk, and then we get him trying to eat a pepper. All of that together, the dirty talk and the pepper, no one has ever seemed more white in their life than Trey, or not Trey, obviously Greg.
Yeah.
Munching down on that pepper. Okay, well, that's perfect. Let's jump into the second half of the group date then. When the guys are then talking about, they're debating. It's Andrew S versus Trey, really. And there's two camps, pretty much everyone and then Andrew S. But I'm super curious about how you feel about the situation, Gary, because I empathize with Trey, and the situation is basically beer that there's a sketchy guy in the house. His motives are unequivocally, he's there for the wrong reasons.
Of course.
But they don't, Andrew's like, look, stop. She'll figure it out. She knows. She's smart. She's gonna know if a guy's phony. We don't need to bring up every situation and turn it into this huge deal and ruin everyone's time. And Trey's saying, oh, she's like, I don't know. She says she wants to know this stuff. What if she never figures it out? So, I empathize with both sides, Gary,
Mm-hmm.
but I think a bit more with Andrew. I think at some point you gotta trust Katie to make the right decisions. I know it's difficult to judge, but I'm just wondering, and I know Trey's a good guy, but I'm wondering if subconsciously he's actually trying to protect her, or if some of the guys are trying to understand that snitches get rewarded.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because I think that's very much Katie's MO. It's like, hey, if you tell me shit, you're getting a rose.
Yeah, no, it's very much like, it feels like a trainer with dog treats, and all of the other guys are just dogs and they're just getting their reward for being snitches. It does feel like that. So I agree with
She gave him the rose.
I understand where Trey's coming from, but he's riding that line that Aaron is, where he's like getting too involved in the drama. So he might just become Aaron, like, and just keep going back to the drama and going back and going back.
Just keep going back to the well of snitching.
And he's gonna fall, like, as we saw, Aaron didn't really get that much screen time this episode, but I feel like he's gonna fall behind. And so
but when he
Trey.
did,
and it wasn't
he showed out.
Yeah,
he showed out. Yeah, that man. We'll get to Aaron later, but holy shit, I'm in love with this
so
guy.
Like, I'm kind of down for the guys to just, like, trust Katie and maybe just stop snitching, but that's not gonna happen.
Stop the snitching. We get it. And then all the guys come in, like Justin comes in with those fucking bug-eyed eyebrows, and he goes, "Oh, just so you know, like, if I was on that group date, I would have done exactly what Trey did, and I would have snitched immediately, like, in order to then get rewarded." Like, the guys know what she wants to hear. So I don't know. Like, I get what Trey's doing, but I'm with Andrew. Like, just stop. Just let her figure it out. But I'll toss you a little potential quote of the episode from Courtney. I think I have a better one that tops it later. But he just pulls out he's so legitimately pissed off, and his go-to is, "This is just a bunch of baloney." And who likes baloney? I love a good wholesome, like, hey, let's take out the profanity. This is a family program. This is it's not bullshit. It's not crap. It's nothing except for a bunch of baloney. And I appreciate Courtney keeping it real. And then we get,
couldn't agree more,
the man himself, Blake Moynes. Gary, you happy to see him?
I'm happy to see him, dude. It's kind of funny seeing him come into this season though, because we were like we were harping on the guys for not, like, looking the greatest, and then Blake comes in and he's just like, 9 out of 10, just like looking so sculpted and just like, I don't know, he just looks like he doesn't belong.
Oh my gosh, what up?
Hello.
Hi. Could you hear my exhaustion?
Yeah, you said that right after I was talking about how hot Blake was.
So you thought he looked really good?
Yeah,
I thought he looked very good. His facial hair is very weird to me. It is
It's the worst.
Very
It's
sculpted.
The worst thing I've ever
Very
seen.
sculpted.
Yeah, it's like full beard, and then he
face.
shaves the mustache.
It's weird. It's a weird look.
I really don't like that. Let's keep it. I've just never seen that look before. But like, he did look good. I'm all in. I think his motives are legitimate.
Mhm.
And also Katie's worries. She's like, oh, I don't want to ruin my other relationships. Kind of my thoughts on that is always like, hey, if your relationships with Greg and Connor B, or I mean theoretically Thomas beforehand, or Michael, are that strong, well, then they should be able to survive one other guy coming in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They shouldn't just crumble the moment someone else walks in the door.
But they might.
Well, this is a Nick Viall situation all over again.
Yeah.
Eh? This is exactly how Nick Viall from the Viall Files came into Caitlin Bristow's season, and we know how that turned out. He went all the way to the goddamn end. So I don't know. I'll say I like he made a great first impression. I'll talk maybe a bit more about him when we get to the end of the episode and they have that one final moment. But before that, let's jump into the rose ceremony. Now, I have another great. Here is the quote of the episode, because there's nothing better than a guy in the heat of the moment, and we get at least 3 or 4 of these where a guy just straight up makes up a word. Did you catch it, Gary?
I did not. I
so
can't
it's
wait to hear
Thomas,
this.
and he goes, "The guys can say whatever they want. They can demonstratize me all they want," which is a fantastic combination of ostracize and demonize.
Yeah.
And maybe even like monster in there too. It was fantastic.
I did catch that, but I was like, he kind of swindled me. I'm like, that can't be a word, right?
Oh, he said it so smoothly.
He said it so smoothly.
You know exactly the content. It would like be to demonize someone, but like demonize is the word for that.
Yeah.
But like maybe also ostracize.
It worked perfectly. I will
It's a
give him that.
fantastic word. I
Yeah.
almost think that it might sneak into the English lexicon. Unfortunately, when he said it, not a word. But Thomas,
Somebody
kudos to
also
you.
made up a word earlier. I can't remember who it was, but it was between Trey and Andrew S, I think.
Oh yeah.
And I think Andrew S called Trey Buzz Killington.
Okay, dude. Okay. So Carson texted me that. He goes, LMAO. All he said was Buzz Killington.
Yeah.
And I thought he said, now I think it probably was Buzz Killington, but I thought he said Buzz Killington. Like I thought he was saying like yeah, Buzz Killington, which he also may have been, you know.
I think it was Buzz
kinda,
Killington.
that is so much more funny.
Yeah.
Buzz Killington. Like
I might be on board with that term. Like that might sneak into
I
my...
think that's making its way into our friend group for sure.
100%.
If someone's not really vibing on a night out, dude, you're being a total Buzz Killington right now. It's so good. Now, I'm not a fan of Thomas, but hopefully you agree with me on this, Gary. The guys being so fixated on every single detail of their conversation is so goddamn annoying. Just like, then you've Connor B being like, oh, well, like saying, well, we've heard Thomas's side of the conversation. Now we need to hear Katie's. That's absurd. No, you don't. She's a grown adult. She can manage her own conversations. Connor B is so fucking annoying to me. Oh my God. I know that people love him. I actually don't know. I'm seeing a lot of people mixed on Connor B. I think a lot of people thought the cat suit was weird. I think a lot of people think he's a little corny, maybe a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
It's like get off your high horse. Now, it's not like they can even further enlighten her to this point. You just want to be involved in the situation.
They just want more time. That's all it is.
They just want more time. Yeah. And look, I get being mad at Thomas, then being like, oh, I didn't want to waste your guys' time. So I went and talked with her in private and took up your guys' time.
Yeah.
But then we get Aaron making his one cameo of the episode, being so this man, you can do anything to him. You can murder his pet, you can hit him with a car, but do not disrespect this man. This man wants nothing less than to be disrespected.
As soon as you raise your voice one octave, he's like, don't disrespect me. You're yelling at me. I feel disrespected.
He's just so petty. He's got that trout mouth tube beer. This guy is a grade A mouth breather. This guy is a...
Who are we talking about?
We're talking about Aaron from The Bachelorette. If you looked him up, you would...
No, I've had the thing up the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Take a look at... Yeah, I
people.
love that. Yeah. So I wonder if does he look like a mouth breather from his picture on there?
Yeah, I guess.
You can see. He has a big mouth. You can see it.
He's got a big mouth. He knows how to use
these guys look kind of crazy.
Yes.
Which guys stand out to you? I bet I know exactly who you're talking about.
Brandon Torres looks like he'd be in Guess Who, like one of the characters in Guess Who.
Now that is fantastic. We made a lot of jokes about Brandon Torres, but that one did not come up. That is a fantastic one. Yeah, he's got permanent bedhead. It's actually a medical condition. We're not supposed to joke about it, but yeah, he was a night one guy. I think he's gone. But then we get Michael's first kiss without permission. It was a great night from Michael. Like all jokes aside, he was such a breath of fresh air because, you know, you had the Andrew side of the argument, you had the Trey side of the argument. And he kind of came in like, hey guys, we are all on the same side. We all want Katie to root out the guys who are here for the wrong reasons. We all want time with Katie. We all want the best situation possible. Like, let's find some common ground. It was just very clear, like, oh, this is a real adult with a child and like some life experience. And it's just like kind of very much a breath of fresh air. But
the contrast between him and the hockey guy is so funny to me. Like,
dude, the hockey. I couldn't even tell I don't even know if he went home. Sorry to the listeners.
No, he didn't go home. Maybe
he's sticking around.
I honestly don't know.
Man, I mean, look, Blake Moynes. That is our Canadian of the season. I'm not touching Brendan with a 10-foot pole. And it sucks because we do have some mutual friends. Actually, funnily enough, I know two people pretty well that apparently like they were really posting about him, posting pictures with him before the season, like they knew him well. I don't know. I just think
I'm not saying he's a bad person, but he just has no life experience.
Well, I mean, the personality is not shining, I would say. Like, look, it all depends on the edit. If Brendan, if you're watching this, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying, you don't look there and be like, oh, Canada, that's a group of guys who know how to electrify a room. There's a lot of he kind of fell off after his ball hockey debut. I think that was his ceiling, was like showing off his ball hockey skills. Then everything else was kind of not really in his wheelhouse. But I also, so Fran from Chicks in the Office, we showed them out all the time. This was a fantastic comparison. I don't think either one of you. Well, I know Beer obviously doesn't know this contestant, and I guess you wouldn't either. But Andy Dorfman was the first season I ever watched. And she had the exact same situation as Thomas. Like Josh Murray is a guy from her season. We'll put his picture right at the bottom corner there. Very shiny forehead. First of all, that is the biggest parallel between them, I would say. But other than that, overly charming, like borderline sociopathic. They're both hunks. They're both super manipulative, like very, very similar. A lot of people were saying that's why Nick Viall hated him, because he looks like Josh Murray. Nick Viall lost to Josh Murray on that very season. But that being said, Murray kind of came in before the social media rush of the show. So he really slipped under the radar. He got to the final, like he was clearly there for fame, but no one really realized it. But Thomas, man, like, first of all, that commercial break, could it have been more perfectly timed? They hit us with she calls his name. So Beer, basically this the manipulative guy gets his name called to get a rose. And
the last rose.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, like, how is she giving him the rose? It's crazy. So he steps forward. They go to commercial break. Oh my God! Like perfectly executed.
You thought he was staying, right? For sure.
I
was
1,000%
convinced.
thought he was saying, because we've never seen anything like this. Now he steps up to get a rose. He goes to get it. Katie takes one giant step back and goes. And she was wearing a poker face all night. You couldn't tell if she was super into him still or what. She goes, "You manipulated me." Blah blah blah. It just reads in the riot act. I wish I had the verbatim quote. And says like, "Get the hell out of here right now." And all the guys are like, "Oh shit." And then, but she's still holding the rose. And then she chooses to send all the other guys home still. So there were definitely some disappointed people.
Gave the last rose out.
Well, that's what I thought at first. But you know what? It ended up going to Blake. That's what that.
Okay.
Yes,
I figured that's what it was,
that.
but I was like, kind of weird how that works.
I literally didn't even think about that until this morning when I was going over my notes. I was like, oh, what happened? Oh yeah, I guess it probably did. Like, I guess that technically goes to Blake, but then we see Katie go to Blake's room. I think she's smitten, dude. I think she really likes Blake Moynes.
I think Blake is coming in hot.
He's a charming guy when he's actually engaged with someone too. I like them together. The person I was talking with while watching immediately thought they had chemistry, and she had never seen Tayshia's season, so she was going in blind. She was like, "Oh wow, those two are seem like a great match."
Yeah,
which is like, I think it was very obvious from the start. I don't know, how far do you think Blake might go?
I think he's going super far, and I think his beef with Hunter is going to be legendary, to say the least.
Well, holy shit. Okay, we'll dip into that before we get into our roses and our thorns. We see a bit from next week.
Is coming to play.
The man who's how did he phrase it, Gary? You put it perfectly last time.
He said the exact quote was something like, he's like, "Hey, I'm a nice guy most of the time, but when someone crosses me, unfortunately, I have to get very mad. Like some
Unfortunately,
stupid
I get upset. Unfortunately, I get
upset.
very upset. And he's kind of like this short little guy. First of all, like let's fix that tie on that tie too, man. It's like this wide. Looks like a goddamn clown tie. But yeah, Hunter, it looks like he's just catching bodies with next week on a sports date, which is my favorite trope on the show. One of my favorites, where there's a sports date and there's one hardo who goes way too over the top and starts taking people out of their kneecaps. And I think from what I saw, I think Michael's the one who gets absolutely trucked by it, which is like, really,
come
dude?
on. Pick anybody else.
You picked one guy to truck in the middle of the field playing like handball. You picked the widower with a child whose wife passed away from cancer. It's like the sweetest guy ever, just trucked.
Just insane.
That's a bold PR move, my man.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that, beer? Looked like you kind of had something.
No, I just wondered, like, if maybe is he like mostly still on the show because like he's felt bad for, or is he a legitimate contestant?
No,
he's
not. Now that's a fair question, but I do think it's gonna get dicey because like she does like him, but I just don't. I hate to say it, I love him. I just don't think Katie's ready to like jump into a situation that's that heavy with a kid. I think he's gonna get his heart smashed. I think he's gonna get stepped on. I saw that going around Twitter last night.
I can see it.
Yeah, a lot of viewers are on that side of the. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I'm begging I'm wrong. All right, Gary. Let's start. Let's end positive today. Let's end positive. Let's start with our roses. What are we cutting today? What are you cutting off from the episode or the season?
Did anyone draft Greg? Can't remember who I drafted.
I think. Well, I
Please
would
tell
have
me
had
I
to go
didn't
back.
draft Greg.
I think it was maybe you, man.
Dude, if I drafted Greg, because I'm cutting Greg, dude. I think I'm out on him.
Oh,
it is. Even though I
is.
Potentially drafted him, I think I'm just done with him. I think it's just too many bad vibes, man. Like,
can I bring up my two other red flags as well with him? Because we talked about the I love you, we talked about the proposal, but again, maybe that's not the worst thing ever. I don't love when he's like, I hate any guy who's like, oh, I never get jealous, but I'm feeling like it's hitting me really hard right now. And Beer, like, I know you'll agree with this because you just talked about it at the beginning. Like, yeah, we can make fun of the show all we want, blah, blah, blah. But like, yeah, it's what you signed up for. You literally signed up for a show where 28 other guys come on. You can't pull the I'm never jealous card, but now I am.
That happens every season. Someone says it. Someone says it.
To me, that's, I don't know. It's not like manipulative. I'm going a bit far. I'm reading a bit into it. I don't love that move. But the other big thing to me, and this is what I hate, this is like red flag number one to me, is when anyone frames it as a competition. Look, I know we're watching it as a competition, but when you're in it, that's not the goal, right? That shouldn't be the goal. I can see Beer smirking. He's a skeptic. He's not a champion of love. That's fine. But we, like, the goal going in, you can view it as a competition. That's fine. But if you're signing up for it, you're supposed to be signing up to meet someone who's your fiance. And he's talking about Blake next week. Like, oh, I think Blake's the biggest threat to win it. What are you talking about? Like a contender for like the basketball team? Like, what are you talking about, man? This isn't a professional sport. Like, oh, I think Blake's gonna be the biggest threat to take it from us. Like, what are we saying, man? You're looking for a fiance. Like, that to me is a huge red flag, and I don't know.
That's the thing. Like, I only see it getting worse from here too. I don't see him turning.
It's just little moments,
around.
but. And I've also seen, like, first of all, he signed up, and this is confirmed. He signed up for a season that wasn't Katie's. He didn't come for Katie. I don't know if he claimed that on the show, but he was cast on another season and got taken off because his mom, like, uploaded something to Facebook of like, oh, make sure I don't know what it was, like, give ABC your feedback so Greg can go farther and win. And like, yeah, it's a classic mom post. Like, I don't blame him for that. It's not a mom like cheering on her son, but it's like, all right, so you weren't really just here for Katie. You were here for any season.
Yeah.
Which again goes back to our point. Like, yeah, Thomas is a scumbag if you're thinking about coming on to be the Bachelor or coming on to boost your social platform. But all the other guys are also liars if they're saying like, oh, none of us were thinking about our social platform. None of us thought about the possibility of being the Bachelor. Yes, you did. All right. I really like that. That Thorn. I had Greg down, Gary. You took the words right out of my mouth. My other one is just snitches. I'm done with snitches. I don't want this to be a huge plot point of the whole season.
I don't think it will be. I think because there's like a theme already of the season. It's like one drama, get rid of it. Next drama, get rid of it. You know. So
Sure.
I think we're just moving on to Blake. Now it's Blake's turn. I don't think there's gonna be any snitching necessarily, but I think it's gonna be more like Greg. People are gonna be competing now, and now it's a competition. So.
Yeah, I think it's a great point.
Yeah.
All right, hit us with your rose. Hit us with your rose.
Dude, I think I'm doubling down on Justin this week again.
You read my mind.
I want him to go.
Did
top
you give
4.
it to him last week?
Yeah, I did because dude, his facial expressions are just
I think
amazing.
We gotta cut here to that clip I sent the group today with you and Carson. This great montage of Justin just.
Yeah, Beer. I don't know if you haven't pulled up, but Justin's the guy with the massive eyebrows, and he has a very expressive face.
Well, so dude, I'll send you the clip.
Anytime something happens, they pan to him, and it's just him emoting, basically.
It's fantastic, and he's also like he'll say it too. Like he's so vocally expressive.
Yeah,
that's a great one. I have specifically Justin's eyebrows. I was worried at the start of the episode that we'd barely get any, but he came through at the rose ceremony.
He came through
with a bunch. That was a great one.
I want him to go top 4 and just be a nothing guy all the way up, but
I want to see those hometowns. I want to see those. I want to see those family eyebrows.
Yeah, dude,
I want to see where he's getting it from.
Yeah, where do you get those from, bro?
Yeah, that's a great one. Do you have any others, or you just got one today?
I'm gonna also give it to Michael for just continuing to be Michael. He's just killing the game.
That's a good one.
Didn't ask for a kiss this time, so
yeah,
step in the right direction.
Again, I'm not universally right. I want to make that clear. This is just my stupid opinion. I don't know anything, but. I'm giving it to Blake's return. Love Blake. Happy to see him back. Thought he killed the first impression. Giving it to Thomas's dramatic exit, simply for the cinematic quality. I've never seen that before on this show. It was fantastic. Gave me sort of vibes of Hannah Brown moving the podium away from Luke P. Some people will remember that. That was a fantastic moment, but not quite as strong as Katie shutting the fucking door on him. My last one, just giving it to Katie. I was very skeptical coming in. I've given it to her at least once already. This might be I might be every week giving it to her, but she just keeps crushing it. I have no reason not to. And like, she really thought about not bringing Blake in. She weighed the pros and cons, and he's in. Loved it. Great decision. 2 thumbs up for Katie. All right, that's awesome. And if you guys are ready, Beer, we'll reel you back in. We'll get you back into your wheelhouse. You were helpful. You added some much needed skepticism, because we're helpless, foolish romantics over here, and sometimes we need some reason. We need to be reminded, hey, this is a goddamn TV show. Some people are not there for the right reason. Some people are not there for like, wake up, David. And you know what? I could have used Beer watching beside me last week, because I was starting to get sucked in to Thomas's bullshit. I was starting to get sucked in. I know if Beer was beside me, you would have been like, no, this guy's clearly vying for like
definitely what I
fame.
sound like.
I thought it was bang on. Listeners, close your eyes and let me know if this sounds like Beer. Oh no, just okay. Let's jump in. Let's jump into some NBA. Ready to rock?
Yes, sir.
Good to go.
All right, I got only 2 quick hits for you, and then we're going to jump into our rapid fire question. Then we're going to jump on Eastern Conference Finals. Interesting series. Then we're going to jump into the West. Oh boy, beer getting a little tight last night. Oh man, maybe I jinxed the team. Beer probably just wants me to shut the hell up because I said it's over. The Suns are ending it tonight. That did not happen. But before we jump into those series, 2 quick hits. Jason Kidd hired as the Mavs head coach. Okay, first of all, a lot of people are like, hey, why does this guy keep getting more chances? First of all, he's got a checkered past with, I think it was domestic violence. I don't think it was sexual assault, but domestic violence obviously is still an extremely serious charge. Also, he's not that good a coach. He hasn't really proved that he's a great coach. So I agree. Like, geez, just why does this guy get unlimited chances? Any thoughts on that, Beer?
Well, I think his biggest coaching moment so far is spilling the the drink. Like that's his.
That was a fantastic moment. He purposely gets bumped into for an extra timeout. Spills
That
his
might
drink.
be what's
Now
getting
that
the
actually,
jobs.
I forget who did it before, but I actually found out that he wasn't the first to do it. Some other coach has done that before. I think maybe in college, we didn't originate it, but a fantastic moment. But this guy, how does he keep getting chances? The reason I brought it up though, and I bet, and this is not on you. I'm gonna admit right now, I had no idea about this, but Chauncey, or the headline we have here, Dame Lillard unhappy in Portland. Now, what does this stem from? Now, Chris Haynes at Yahoo Sports reports that Lillard isn't happy with Portland's head coaching search. Of course, part of that is also he's losing faith in their ability to build a championship. Now, the part that I didn't know, Beer, is that part of the controversy is that Chauncey Billups had a rape allegation in 1997. It was settled out of court, which is like, look, never a good sign. On this podcast, we believe victims. And look, it's all alleged, but I'm just saying, like, settling out of court, it's a checkered past. It's also very alienating to a front office that has a lot of women in it, and a lot of women who are vying to make history, to hire Becky Hammon as the first female head coach in NBA history. Then they do the inverse and hire someone who has been accused of sexual violence in the past. Now, the issue was that Lillard had no idea about this. Neither did I. Did you know about this?
Yeah, you're springing this on me right now.
Yeah,
I had no
exactly.
idea.
Yeah, and I didn't mean it like, yeah,
No,
I know.
no.
No, I'm not like asking you, hey, what are your thoughts? But yeah, I had no idea about it either. So either it's not really discussed or it's just kind of been forgotten about, which is unfortunate because I had thought for years, why is it taking so long for Chauncey to get a job? He has all these assistant jobs. He's well respected basketball wise. And so now it's a little more illuminating. But look, like us, Lillard had no idea. But then he came under fire on Twitter because he suggested that Billups get hired, not knowing about the case, obviously. And so he felt like really, pull Thomas's term out, he felt very demonstracized, ostracized, and demonized by the fans of Portland specifically. Look, to me, it's not Lillard's fault because I didn't know. What are you supposed to Google every head coach and find, like, maybe, but he obviously didn't have any ill intent there, right? And so the ridicule seems to have sparked a bit of frustration. But look, the bigger impact in this, the bigger impact is the defense around him and the front office unable to build a championship team around him. To me, it's a tough summer for Blazers fans. 50% at least of your fan base is alienated by this Billups hire. And now it seems like Lillard might have just been looking for a way out. A lot of people are also reporting like, hey, I think this is just a straw that broke the camel's back. So I don't know. I just off the top here, we kind of guessed it earlier, but maybe we reconfigure our predictions. What do you think the percentage chances are that Lillard is wearing a Trailblazers jersey, let's say at the start of the playoffs next year? Let's go, maybe he gets traded mid-season. I don't know. What do you think there's a chance that he's not in Portland come the postseason?
I feel like if he's there to start the regular season next year, he'll be there for the year. I feel like these deals, with the obvious exception of James Harden last year, rarely come together within the regular season. And Dame doesn't seem like a guy that's going to do the James Harden of like, I'm just playing egregiously bad basketball for 3 weeks to get out of here. And he's so much the guy, or has been, that like vocally didn't want to chase rings on teams or leave Portland, that I want to say.
He said that when he's a few years younger though.
Yeah, but
maybe that changes.
Yeah, for sure. I have no insight into the thinkings of Damian Lillard, but it would just be a huge switch from what a lot of people have like seen him as in contrast to the rest of the league.
Well, I mean, people see him as like a Dirk or a Steph or a Kobe, like in terms of, hey, this is a franchise guy. I totally agree. I'm just saying maybe he was thinking that when they were going to the Western Conference Finals, because that quote, I know the exact, like he said it multiple times. I want to retire here. I want to be a one franchise guy. And then he looks around and goes, we're moving in the wrong direction. We were in the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago when the Warriors were around, when the Clippers were at the height of their powers, when like it was a tough conference and we were still there. And now we're moving in the wrong direction. CJ McCollum can't stay on the floor. We have no real defense. We don't have a consistent center that can stick around for a full season. So look, I don't think anyone's going to blame Lillard if he goes to another situation. The crux that I also want to take away, and I think I can probably speak for you, is like, let's improve these coaching hires. Come on. There are other options out there. How are the two guys that get hired within a 2-week period, a 1-week period, two people who have violent histories of abuse against women? Like, come on, NBA, do better. But anyways, let's jump in a little later to our rapid fire question of the week. Earlier this week, I don't know if you guys saw the tweet, Chris Bosh posted a throwback photo of his draft night next to an iconic photo of Nathan Fielder. Nathan Fielder obviously wearing that enormous suit of his. Now, guys, what was your most memorable fashion fumble? Let's start with Beer, who is a very fashion savvy person, I might add.
I mean, I've had many over the years, no doubt, but I think
man.
the biggest one was I went to New York City with my family in like grade 4 or 5. I got some red Ferrari like leather Puma shoes.
Oh hell yeah!
And just straight up wore them with every single outfit for like a year and a half after that, and every picture from that era of my life is just a fucking awful look. Like, I could be wearing the most normal clothes outside of those shoes.
Yeah.
And they literally look like elf shoes.
They're an accent piece.
Yeah, it's not good.
They're a conversation piece.
Yeah.
That's spectacular. Now, not a lot of people know this, but Caleb has been to New York how many times?
Like 4 times, I think.
4 times? And how many times on that trip did you see Shrek on Broadway?
Just one time, but I did see it.
Just one time?
Just one time. But I did see it. It was fantastic.
Was it fantastic? Would you
yeah.
recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's still
I hear it's still running.
Yeah.
12 years strong. Yeah, 14
Probably
years strong.
Cast, but yeah, go for it.
I
money.
hear it's rivaling Hamilton for the longest running Broadway play. That's a fantastic answer. All right, Gary, what you got?
Mine also is from when I was a young lad. I think I was probably like grade 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to school with my pants on backwards, which is a fucking 1.5 feet.
Tough to do.
How the hell do you do that? How the hell did my mom let me go to, like, how did she not notice?
How do you walk? Dude, there's so many logistics.
There's so many logistics. But
what type of pants are we talking about? Like jeans?
Jeans.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude.
Or like
maybe like
some
sweats or track pants.
No. It was either jeans or like cargo pants. One of the two.
I mean, that's absurd. There's anything
Truly
with
absurd.
a fly.
Yeah, and so like I don't know, not
how do you even do up the fly?
I didn't. Clearly, I didn't do.
Yeah,
it
I guess you just pulled them right up.
Pulled them up.
Yeah,
they might have been like, I don't know. The button might have been done up. I might have just, I don't know. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know how it
the
happened.
logistics were forgotten.
The logistics,
yeah,
out the window. But like halfway through the day, someone's like, "Yo, your pants are on backwards," and I think I just denied it. I was like, "Nah, they're not."
Nah, dude, they're Japanese. You don't get it. You'll be wearing them like this in 3 years.
But if this were to happen to you somehow in this day and age, and someone confronted you about it, what's your response?
I would say these are Rick Owens fall winter 2022, you dumbass.
Fucking idiot.
Read fucking GQ once in your life, you idiot.
This happened to Trump like 2 weeks ago.
Really?
He was wearing his pants backwards. Yeah, like you can Google it. It's yeah.
Dude, I feel like I'm in a simulation right now.
No,
I've literally never come close, not even remotely close. What are we even talking about? Pants backwards?
Not like he has his suit pants on backwards. Oh no! Is it NPR is going to tell me that it's not true? Don't.
My story is true though.
Oh goddamn, Gary! I can't. Also, fake news, Kel. That's very dangerous. That is very dangerous rhetoric that we're throwing around. But we're also not going to cut it because that takes some modicum of effort on our part. But fantastic answer. Mine's a little traumatic. Oh, dude. Beer knows who I'm talking about. There was this goddamn dick when we were going to elementary school. Carson would just love this story, man. He was such a bully to everyone. And dude, I wasn't safe. This guy used to critique everything everyone did. He just ran the entire grade. And he I'm not making fun. I'm just doing the best. I'm trying to bring you guys into the moment. I come up and I'm wearing orange and black, and he goes, David, you know that it's not Halloween, White. And he did talk like that. And he's still intimidating me. Every color combination I would wear, he would find a holiday to associate it with, like orange and black. He's like, oh, that's a fashion faux pas. Like, dude, this was grade 3. I couldn't wear green and red together. I couldn't wear like, oh, yellow and purple. What are you, Kobe Bryant? Like all this bullshit every day. And now he's part of a pyramid scheme. And he did invite me to be a part of it. So I did get the last laugh there, knowing that but we were debating the other day, by the way, this is a quick little point. Do you think if you get high enough in a pyramid scheme, you make quite good money? Like, do you think someone could enter? Yeah. You think so? Yeah, but
I think there's potential there, but I always find it so funny.
You have to be the highest, I believe.
I think, yeah, I feel
you got to be number. You think there's one dude making money?
Yeah, but the money's continuously flowing, so I don't know if there's a whole lot of like taking the money out and investing it. I think you're just constantly reinvesting it
into the business.
That's how it works, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm very familiar.
I might quite. Yeah, it sounds like you're speaking from experience. Beer, if you can get me in on the ground floor, I'm willing to get 3 more people.
Bob.
Yeah, we'll talk.
I love seeing them pop up on my feed though, like just like someone from high school is like, oh, buy my like Tupperware or whatever. It's like, bro,
it's always Tupperware. It's always hair vitamins.
Something.
It's always some bullshit that I've never thought about needing once.
Yeah.
Also, I know what NPR said, but I just challenge everyone to go look up that picture of Trump's pants and tell me they're not backwards.
Really? Okay, so NPR, bold take. The Run Amok podcast. NPR is fake news.
It's in the group chat.
All right, I'm very curious. I'm gonna take a look now. Those are backwards. Those are backwards. I didn't even click on them yet. They're backwards. They're backwards, people. Those pants are backwards. Look at that crease. Look at that crease. That's backwards. Those are some backwards pants. Anyone who's listening to the podcast, buy an iPhone and look it up. And great. Wow, great answers, guys. All right, let's jump into the 2 playoff series in the East. Now, tonight, of course, we're recording this on June 29th, 2021. So they are playing tonight, but currently we have the Milwaukee Bucks facing up against the Atlanta Hawks, and Milwaukee has taken a stranglehold on this series, Beer, particularly with a win the other night. Could you kind of give me your highlights of the series, or what kind of the defining factors of this series to you have been? We have Trae Young battling through an injury. In the latest game, we have Milwaukee just dominating in the fourth quarter. Middleton just went off and finally woke up. And so what are your thoughts on this series? It's 2-1 currently. What do you think the Hawks have any semblance of a chance to come back?
Like, not to be too simplistic, but I think it's all on Trae Young's ankle. I think if he's out of the series or even hampered in a significant way, I don't see any way that they beat Milwaukee. I, even with a healthy Trae Young, still would probably take Milwaukee, but I think it's a near impossibility without him at 100%.
Yeah, and I do agree to some extent. I also have a lot of faith in the Bucks. So like the Bucks themselves, they're not beating themselves. And look at like the whole, not a lot of people are making this comparison, but the idea of like, hey, Ben Simmons can't shoot. He can't shoot free throws. And then you look at what Giannis is able to do. Obviously, Giannis has different physical gifts than Ben Simmons. But when Giannis is aggressive going in the rim, still looking to score like he was in game 2, like he was in game 3, completely opens up the rest of the floor and allows guys like Middleton to shine. That's exactly what happened at the end of game 3. Giannis dominates for the first 3 quarters, and then Middleton, who had 38, 11, 17, just a ridiculous game, or 7, I should say, has the space to close out the game in the fourth. It's not even like he blows by people either. I'm not a Middleton fan, but when he's in his groove, he's just shooting right over people. It is, I wouldn't say exciting to watch, but it is beautiful to watch. When he's hot, he's hot. And look, one of our old basketball coaches used to say, and one of our friends loves quoting this, long shot, long rebound. And that is exactly what is killing the Hawks right now. You talked about Trae Young, Beer. When he's missing those 35-footers, look, I'm fine with him shooting it, right? He's proved he can knock it down. But when he misses them, oh boy, that is fueling the Bucks fast break now. It did it in game 2, did it in game 3. you're mentioning Trae Young. It's all on him. Yeah, because Bogdanovich, I mean, he hasn't had anything going this series. And again, like you mentioned, with the injuries Atlanta is suffering through, those cold streaks are adding up. But I hope you agree with this. I'm wondering, I refuse to hear any Trae Young hate. He's been great all postseason. This series, he's been ridiculous every quarter except for the fourth. They just don't have enough firepower, and they're way too small. I like John Collins, but they're way too small at the center position when Collins is playing the five. It just seems like Trae's running out of gas, and especially with that ankle injury. It's obviously laboring him. I don't know. I think we might be flirting with a douchebag sweep. I think we might be seeing the five-gamer. I don't know.
They still just don't feel. I know we've been saying this for the whole playoffs and have been like unequivocally wrong. They still don't feel like an Eastern Conference Finals team to me. The way
the Bucks?
No, the Hawks.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So seeing them sort of run out of gas, Trae Young especially, is not exactly surprising to me, but I've also been way too low on them for the entirety of the playoffs. So
same. His entirety of his career for me.
Who knows? I'll probably be wrong again in the coming days.
I hope I am. Look, I'm cheering for a healthy series. I don't want him laboring out there, and I don't think he'll be right. He put up on his story, like, so frustrated with like all black just text on his Instagram story the other day. Like, that to me sends a message of like, I don't think I'm going to be at full strength for the rest of this series. But again, we'll see. I predicted Bucks in 6 going in. Yeah, I think I'd probably change it to Bucks in 5. When Bogdanovich, he's such a difference maker. When he's not making shots, it's tough. John Collins, you need to have in there for the offense, but then it makes Brooke Lopez look like, I don't know, it makes Brooke Lopez look like Shaq out there sometimes. Like, they're just too small to handle it. So, unfortunately, the Hawks, I have been underrating you the entire season, disrespecting Trae Young since he was drafted, before he was drafted. We read one of my quotes earlier this season. I was dead wrong on him. I just think, okay, Bucks, this might be your year. Let's see what you can do. I think this is a 5-game closeout, and we'll see what happens tonight. But let's jump into the West, Beer. Phoenix fan, biggest Chris Paul fan I know. This Phoenix LA Clippers series is getting very interesting. My biggest takeaway, practice your free throws, kids. Because honestly, Paul George, he kills me. I'm not just going to look at last night's game. I want to look at the whole series. Paul George clunks free throws in game 2, then to lose the game. Then after they're winning game 3, or leading up to their winning game 3, blows kisses to the crowd after going 0 for 4 in the fourth with 4 turnovers. And you're thinking like, geez, Paul, man, like, I'm rooting for you to turn it around, but you're making it so hard on yourself. And then clunks some more free throws in game 4. Like, dude, but then what a redemption game last night, Beer. Puts up 41, 13, and 6 on what? 75% from the field? Are you kidding me? This series is fascinating. It's honestly, it's a series of the mid-range. Even if you look at both teams, like Paul George throughout this whole series dominating in the mid-range. CP3, Booker dominating in the mid-range. Last night, though, it felt like the Suns just never had a chance in the second half. They stole like a slight lead, but I mean, LA was just locked in. Marcus Morris had a fantastic game. Zubats looked dominant. He looked extremely aggressive against Tatum. I don't know. Phoenix, they're just never going to win against a team shooting 55% from the field on the road. They have to adjust to Lou's matchup adjustments, and Lou's been very good at adjusting. But that being said, I still have faith. The Clippers, they're gritty. They've proven they're not going away. They don't give up. But I still like Phoenix. I would breathe easy if I was you, Beer. How about you? What are you feeling going into game 6?
Yeah, I'm like extremely terrified because it's Chris Paul playoff series. But
yeah, don't talk 3-1 leads. Don't even mention it.
Yeah, my objective view is that it seems unlikely the Clippers play and shoot as well as they did last night 2 more times this series. And it seems like they need that. Like, it was a much closer game than the 14 points that it was in the final score. And there was no one on Phoenix that had like a noticeably good game. And there was a ton of dudes on the Clippers that I don't expect to play nearly to that level for the rest of the series.
Who are you thinking? Like Marcus Morris in particular?
Morris,
Nick Batum played a big role. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. What I will say, though, I have been very impressed with Ty Lue. He improves to 10-2 in elimination games. He's just so good at like working with his roster. The Clippers, they're finally playing Terrence Mann more, though. Like, holy shit. Still not enough, in my opinion, though. He was balling out. He's such an energy boost. Somehow he only played 6 minutes in the second half yesterday. 6 minutes? You better be keeping him in all, like, the whole half. I don't know. But overall, besides that, Lou has made some awesome adjustments, putting Beverly in and out, trying to balance him because that man makes some stupid decisions. But then sometimes he'll just shove a guy at half court, pick up a stupid foul. Sometimes he'll knock down 2 threes in a quarter and completely swing the momentum. So he's trying to balance that, playing a Luke Kennard to stretch the floor a bit. Zubac's starting. But it's easy to get caught up with Ayton. I fell in love with Ayton. It's look, further proof that the big man is back, but Zubac's kind of made him look like a tiny man last night. He just looked soft for the first time in the playoffs. He's had some tough matchups, but that to me is another piece of solace for the Suns. Like, I have faith in DeAndre Ayton playing big, dominating in the paint, forcing the Clippers to remain big, which I don't think they want to do. I don't know. What were your thoughts on Ayton, who didn't have a fantastic game, a little bit of a letdown from what he's been showing?
Yeah, it just seemed like he wasn't quite as comfortable in the paint. He's been making a ton of those little turnaround shots in the paint, all series off rebounds and messed up plays that have saved a ton of Phoenix possessions, and they just weren't dropping, and he wasn't even really shooting that many of them last night. But he's been incredible this series. Or this whole playoffs. I don't think I have too much fear in how he's going to play the rest of the series.
No, and you mentioned Phoenix, really. I mean, look, Devin Booker knocked down some key shots, especially like end of the third, and you know, like he had some key moments, but it's just a rough game for Phoenix overall. I wasn't really worried after game 3 that Chris Paul and Devin Booker looked bad. I'm still not worried. Chris Paul looked a bit rusty after some time off. Devin Booker looked a little rusty after having his face broken and his entire head swelling up. It made sense why they were cold, and it made sense why they were able to turn it around in game 4. Game 5, to me, less about the rust, less about the injuries, more about just the Clippers being desperate, being gritty. But I think we over-exaggerate adjustments sometimes a little bit. Yeah, Ty Lue, look, we gave him praise. Great adjustments. But at the end of the day, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, they're 2 all-NBA worthy talents. I know Booker didn't make it, but obviously 2 like very, very high caliber guards. They're also going to adjust. I don't see them being cold for 2 more games and not closing this out. But again, hardest thing to do is close out a series. The Clippers keep proving me wrong time and time again. They've earned my respect. This is a different team mentally than last year. And I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if it went to 7 games, but we'll see. I don't know. Do you think this is a 6-gamer or a 7-gamer beer?
6 games.
6 games. All right. It's over next game.
Yeah.
There we go. I love that confidence. It's not told. I can smell a little bit of nervousness.
No, there's no confidence at all, but it's going to be 6 games.
All right. I love it. Speaking into existence. All right. Thanks so much, guys, for joining. Thanks so much for listening, for watching. Very excited to see how these play out. But that being said, again, we'll remind you one more time: rate, review, subscribe. Thank you so much, Producer Gary. Remember,
Wet bird never flies at night.
thank you, and peace.